So the purpose of this information session is threefold. The first is to explain the science and the framework of positive intelligence. The second is provide examples, real life examples of the positive intelligence experience and respective impact. And the third is to provide you with an opportunity to experience this very transformational program for yourself. Our process is through storytelling and through information sharing through slides. And the payoff is this, that you will be able to learn this simple yet powerful tool to help you shift your ability to turn difficult circumstances or challenges into opportunities and to build your mental fitness that will then allow you to create high-performing teams that are rooted in trust and mental resilience. Okay. So as you can see from my bio slide, that I am clearly in my next chapter of my professional life. And I am now able to continue to make a difference for people, individuals, teams, and organizations through my integrated coaching. And now, most recently, to team with Haifeng. But going to this next chapter was not easy for me, and it was not an easy decision. I had to retire. If I were going to go to this next chapter, I had to retire from a job I absolutely loved, a job that used all of my innate strengths and allowed me to make a difference for hundreds of people, including about 100 people going through positive intelligence. So for me to move to this next chapter, to build my coaching business, I needed to face my fears, my limiting, self-sabotaging automatic patterns. So I enrolled in the mastery program at Positive Intelligence, and this is where I met Haifeng. She held up a mirror for me so that I could face my judge and my saboteurs, to have me realize my self-worth, my essence. And it was through her coaching me that I was able to gain clarity, courage, and make a clear-headed decision to retire, leave my beloved job, and step out into the world where my vision is to create a compassionate world by developing compassionate leaders. So with a great deal of pleasure and gratitude, I now turned the camera over to Haifeng to introduce herself.
Oh, thank you, Ellen, for such a touching introduction. And what can I say? First of all, let me introduce myself for people who are not familiar with me. My name is Haifeng Guo, and I'm a certified positive intelligence coach, and I help change leaders and high-performing teams find clarity and breakthrough in adversity through a science-based approach. That's what we call PQ operating system we're going to introduce you today. But before that, I had over 2 decades experience in leading process and operation excellence across different industries like e-commerce company like Amazon and automotive like ZF and NIO, which is a China company based, well, it's an international company based in China. And the way we did Operation Excellence, it was through designing the process in a way that they are capable of exposing problems where, when they are created, where they are created, so really the people could jump onto the problem and solve it right away. So that's the way we strive for zero defect, just-in-time delivery, and we call it as lean thinking or lean implementation. Many of my previous colleagues are now either head of a business or expert of special technology. Different tracks they follow. But for me, I choose the people-oriented coaching direction because I've always been very interested in the deeper reason behind why things are what they are, what motivates people to do or not to do something. I guess this tendency also helps me to build a deeper connection with the change work that I used to do. But expose problems and ask why several times to get to the root cause. It challenges the status quo and presents uncertainty and risks and make people feel threatened. It's funny. My husband often complains that whenever he makes a statement, very often, my response would be, "How do you know? And why is that?" Make no mistake, my husband is a very capable man, and I hold very high respect to him. But in his own words, he said the way I responded to his statement made him feel that I don't trust him, feel judged. So he would often been really annoyed and turn negative. And those emotions are contagious. Normally, I would get negative, and we would caught into this downward spiral of arguments. So it never went well. And this is at home with my loved one. Imagine the level of resistance and pushback and work where I got to expose problems deliberately and ask why 5 times. And it often forced me to my survival mode of, I'm going to control things to extreme detail, or I'm going to avoid conflicts like this if I see there's no possible to control. But deep down, I used to believe that I am a very self-motivated person, that I am strong enough, that I can push down all the negative emotions because they are just a noise, right? Serve no purpose. Oh, sounds very positive, right? But this false positivity is poisonous. Why? Because at the end of this, I find myself stuck in the state of being really harsh on myself, judging myself. I start to question myself all the time, and I became resentful to others. How could you do this? And I became cynical. Oh, is that so? Until I learned about the positive intelligence operating system of how to build up your mental resilience to shift away from the negative emotions driven by fear, and how to reclaim your sage self with deep empathy, curiosity, and creativity. So I've come to realize that the fundamental flaw in driving change is the failing to address the negative emotions from the root level, which is exactly what positive intelligence does. So, as leaders of change, we must prevent saboteur contagion and create a sage contagion to enable successful change. Now, I've witnessed so many of my colleagues, including myself, burn out when handling stress coming out of managing change, and I've first-handedly experienced this. So, it is my passion and our goal today to introduce and promote this simple yet powerful tool to all the leaders that nurture change. And with that being said, I want to invite all the participants today to share in the comments your name, where you're dialing from, and what do you wish to take away from today's session. And back to Ellen.
Okay. Yes, please. In the chat function, if you would please your name, as Haifeng said, your role, your organization, and what would you like to take away today to help solve any issues, challenges that you are facing. And as you're doing that, there are why, as Haifeng said, we're here to help with the framework that will allow us to limit those or reduce those limiting patterns with that. And that's really why the why is happening. So, Lindsay, if you could go to the next slide. Um, and bottom line is all of us, no matter who we are, where we are potentially every day, we're sabotaging our own wellness, performance, and relationships. And so when Haifeng mentioned that spiraling down and catching that saboteur contagion, that is what we need to understand, that it, to anticipate it, to be able to intercept it, and to be able to reduce it. And so why is this really important for us? We in the business and around the globe, no matter where we are all facing a great deal of uncertainty. We are all facing massive changes, be it systemic to the smallest, what is happening on the lunch menu. It doesn't matter. We are all facing these changes. And that then reminds us that there is an urgent need to pay a great deal of attention to our mental health and the mental health of our employees. In Gallup's State of the Global Workplace 2025 report, global employee engagement fell to 21% engaged. And that is costing the global economy over $438 billion US dollars in lost productivity. And one of the primary causes of this was the drop in manager engagement. And that drop affects team engagement, which then affects productivity. So I ask, what is the level of engagement for you yourself, for your team, and your organization? How do your managers handle the many disruptions or changes that they're faced with daily? Are they and their team members emotionally engaging? Are they or their members exhibiting what is now being called quiet quitting, where employees deliberately dial down their work efforts? Or now, most recently, quiet cracking. Are they experiencing that? So, what is quiet cracking? Quiet cracking is an involuntary mental and emotional breakdown that is silent suffering, and it's happening right underneath, like, our noses, right? They're silently suffering. We don't really know it, but their self-sabotaging patterns are rampant. So what could happen if you gained insight and you learned what is limiting your performance, limiting your relationships, and affecting your well-being? What would happen? Because great leadership isn't just about results. It is about leaving people better than when we found them. What if you were able to develop habits that would lead you to a positive mindset, allowing you to respond to these difficult and challenging circumstances, particularly change? If you were able to identify and break free of these self-sabotaging, limiting patterns, would you become the leader people would follow anywhere? And if you could not break free of these limiting, self-sabotaging patterns, what is the cost? Are you the leader people will remember, and they'll remember your presence, your compassion, your ability to listen deeply? And with those, that will engender trust. Will they remember you? Will they follow you? So, what are we really talking about here? We're talking really about the framework that positive intelligence provides for us. So, with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Haifeng, and Haifeng is going to lead us through this portion of our program. Okay.
Thank you, Ellen, for those really thought-provoking questions. I really enjoyed what you just shared. And now I would like to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
We can see it.
Great.
Yeah.
And now we come back to our topic of how to build up your mental resilience to turn disruption into opportunities in just 7 weeks. And let's start with the definition. Mental resilience. It's your capacity to respond to life's challenges with positive rather than negative mindset. And the impact of it would be you achieve your peak performance, you have a peace of mind, and healthy relationships. And this tool and technology is research based, and the foundation of the research, including positive psychology, performance science, neuroscience, and cognitive behavior psychology. And as a combination of this, and the center of it is what we call positive intelligence. It is the tool we're going to introduce to help build up your mental resilience. And the research include hundreds of CEOs and their executive executive teams, and Stanford students, world-class athletes, and over 1,000 participants from 50 different countries. And the research was then summarized in a book, and it's a best-selling in New York Times by Sharat Shami and translated into 20 different languages. I'm showing here the English version, and there is a Chinese version of it called 正向力. And the research, what's really fascinating is it deploy a factor analysis, this way of doing the research, the factor analysis. And what's the power of factor analysis? It discovers the root cause and thus results in radical simplification of things. A very simple and well-known example would be from our nature that, for example, under the root of the thousands of colors, there are only three factors, which is red, blue, and yellow. So as a result of this factor analysis research, it is discovered that there are only three core muscles are under the root of the mental resilience. And they are your saboteur interceptor muscle and your sage muscle and your self-command muscle. We're going to explain a little bit of each one, what they are. So the first one is, it turned out that there are 10 different saboteurs and 5 different sage powers that each of us has. And the way we perform and we balance our relationship is how we can balance between those two different forces, one negative and the other positive. And let's start with the saboteur interceptor. The judge is the master saboteur, and it has 3 forms of judging, including judging yourself, judging others, and judging circumstances. And depending on different people, your background and your experience, you might experience different level of judgment. You might notice you're judging of self more active or judging of others more active. It's all very different. But the thing is, the judging is not playing fair. If we only have one saboteur, we can fight against it. We can fight against it with our sage, right? But the judge normally gain up with the accomplice saboteur, including controller. There's a right way to do everything. This is my way, and a hyperachiever. My words is depending on the project. And restless, there got to be something more interesting out there. And the stickler, that mug has to be where it is. Pleaser. I cannot say no. I have to please others. And hypervigilant think there are danger everywhere. I have to keep vigilant 24/7. An avoider is like, oh, let's have a cup of coffee before we do that thing. Okay, I'm hearing some
Huh.
um
I'm sorry. Do I have my, I thought I was muted.
okay. So
I'm not, I'm not,
do you have
I'm
any
not,
questions, Robin?
I'm not
Okay,
muted. I'm sorry.
can you mute yourself?
Let me just go back.
So
Hold on a second.
follow on this, we have this victim. Oh, why does all happen to me? And hyper rational. Let's just solve things, in a purely logical and rational way. Emotions are noise. So what a cast of characters, and really depend on your motivation and your style. And each of us, we will have a top two or three saboteurs. Which are most powerful and active. And the way we help you to build up your saboteur interceptor muscle is by doing the saboteur assessment. In 5 minutes, it will show your top saboteurs like this. This is a real example, like James. The saboteur assessment result shows that he has his top saboteurs, including controller, avoider, and hypervigilant. And for each saboteur, we have a very detailed description to help you to discover its pattern, its behavior, its thought. So this is the way that we helped you to build up your saboteur interceptor muscle, because the enemy hidden in the dark is far more dangerous, once we can spot them, right? So the saboteurs motivates you through negative emotions, like driven you by fear. You will feel stress and anger, guilt, shame, and insecurity. However, the sage motivates you through positive emotions like empathy, curiosity, creativity, passion, and purpose. The thing is, the saboteur might also generate success, but not happiness. It's only through the sage will generate. And by now, I know that some of you might have this question, but I need my saboteurs. I know I'm controlling. I'm hyperachieving, but it's only through a controller and a hyperachiever that I have those success that I had now. And I have to make sure everything is perfect to make sure I have a high quality of my work. I need those. So are negative emotions good for you? Let's um let's ask you a different question. Is pain good for you? It turned out that the negative emotions are only helpful for 1 second as alert signal. But staying in negative emotions will hurt your ability to see clearly and then respond with empathy and with curiosity, with creativity, or laser focused action. So here we see negative emotion equal saboteur. So that was about how to spot on your saboteur and build up your saboteur interceptor muscle by expose those saboteur patterns, right? The next piece of the system is about building up your sage muscles. And your sage live in a region of your brain associated with positive emotions. It's in peace and calm, and you will be clear headed. You will have clear headed focus, you have creativity, you will have the big picture of the things. And it operates from the sage perspective, which is that every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift or an opportunity. Let me repeat that. Every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift or an opportunity. What? When I first read about this sentence, well, as Chinese, we have a word which literally say that danger and opportunities are different sides of the same coin. So we know it from the word. Okay. But it could never happen to me, right? In danger and opportunities. What's the worst nightmare could happen to a change leader at work? Um, what's the word? What's worst, or what's worse than um, getting fired from the job that you have full passion on it, and you put all of your energy and your passion into it. So that was what happened to me. I was fired from a job that I feel so passionate about that I said to myself, I know it was hard, but I know I am strong. I can do this. But then 1 year into the role, I was fired, and it was devastating for me. It was like totally disrupt my self confidence. I lost her passion in the things I once feel so confident with. And when you say, well, every outcome or circumstance can be turned into this gift, I would say, you know, bust away. That's not for me. It was, but because it was so painful, and I had to find a way to get myself out of this dark hole of really self pity and self doubt. What if it is true? So it was then I started to really see, and looking back, it did provide me with lots of opportunities to witness, to spot on my victim. I was stuck in this self-pity. Oh, I was such a loser. I cannot do anything, to spot on my saboteurs. And I can really reflect how my top three saboteur at that time was my controller, hyper achieving, and hyper rational, how they mess up with everything that I was trying to achieve. It was through this saboteur discovery that I started to separate myself from those saboteur feelings. And through doing regular PQ wraps, which is the third piece of the operating system I'm going to introduce later, through this weekly routine PQ wraps, I started to have access to my sage self of really deep empathy toward myself, that I made mistakes, and to really have deep curious of why it happened, and to really innovate my way, to find things that really, really fill my heart, and to find the work or job that I feel so passionate about. So it was through this program that I finally find my direction as a positive intelligence, and now I started to bring this operating system to business schools. That I did a session in Hart International Business School as a guest speaker, sharing my experience as lean leadership, as human lean leadership in action. So, and I also bring this operating system to corporations and to individuals. So I would say, looking back, it is true that every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift and opportunity. But the question is, which perspective is true? Your saboteur would say, "Oh, this is too bad," and your sage would say, "This is a gift." Questions: which perspective is true? And the answer is, whichever you believe becomes true. Whichever you believe becomes true. So with that, we've come to the last piece of this operating system of how to stay in self-command. And instead of further introduce you what is a PQ wraps, I would love to invite all of you to experience this with you, and just to notice what kind of emotions you're in now, probably from my previous sharing, what kind of emotions um, it provoked inside of you. And I would invite you all to experience this PQ wraps with me. And there are all different ways to do PQ wraps, but we can use your sense to do PQ wrap, your hearing, your smell. But my favorite one is to do it through deep breath. And I would love to invite all of you to do it together with me. To have, when you are ready, have a deep breath in and breath out. And have a deep breath in and breath out. And just now return your breath to the natural rhythm. And notice your chest or stomach is rising or falling with your breath. You notice that the temperature of air that goes into your nostrils is different from the temperature of air that goes out of your nostrils. And maybe take two of your fingertips like this. And this is one of my favorite one, very simple. And gently rub your two fingertips together against each other with such a tension that you can feel the fingertip ridges on each one. So that was a very, very short and very quick PQ wraps. And notice the kind of broadness it can bring you back. And this is the power of the PQ wraps. And this is the simplicity of the operating system, which is if you're feeling negative emotions, remind yourself to stop because you are now in saboteur mode. And do some PQ wraps to quiet your saboteurs and activate your sage, just like what we did. And assume the sage perspective that every problem can be converted into a gift or opportunity, and generate the gift by using the sage powers like empathy, curiosity, creativity, and calm, clear-headed action. So the question is it really possible to just shift from saboteur to sage response even in tough challenges? Yes. The answer is yes, but the speed and the depth of the shift depends really on your mental muscle strength. Really depend on your mental muscle. So lasting positive change require only 20% of insight and 80% of mental muscle building. Remember a situation where you join a workshop or you join a webinar or you join an information session like this and you find, you've learned a lot. It's going to change you. You feel so excited. But when you go back to your normal life, pretty soon everything went back to the same. Why? Because lasting positive change requires at least 80% of mental muscle building. And success requires intense initial practice because you can't defeat again of 10 battles by sending one new fighters per day for 100 days, right? It requires 15 minutes per day for 6 to 7 weeks. That's why we say that building mental fitness to this to building mental fitness to turn disruption into opportunity in 7 weeks. And what's the impact of this program could be? With that, I I send it back to Ellen is going to introduce us the impact of the program.
I find your passion is always just a joy to experience and to feel. And I do appreciate the in-depth overview that you gave of the science and the framework and the research. So, Lindsay, go ahead and pull up the next slide. And we are going to talk about some impact. and show you some gee whiz numbers. There we go. All right. So so the question I asked is what impact could potentially you derive potentially from participating in this 7-week program, you and your team? And so I noticed in the chat from Tina, she really is very interested in, how this program could improve group productivity. Tina, you're in the right place. So these stats are from Positive Intelligence, where they have taken global evaluation studies, and they have proven that stress is managed better, empathy is shown, your increased happiness, and basically performance, relationships, and well-being are highly, highly positively affected. And so we just don't want you just to take our word for it or Positive Intelligence word. So we have asked a few of our Haifeng and myself, our former participants who are still using Positive Intelligence. They have embraced it for a lifelong journey. So I believe we have in the room, and so we were going to have short testimonials of their experience and their impact. And I believe we have in the room Winnie Sung. Winnie, are you?
Yes. Yes,
Hi,
I'm here.
how are you? I'm Ellen. So
Good.
nice to meet you.
Hello. Nice to
So,
meet you.
so we're keeping track of our time, and we've got about 3 minutes for each of you. So we do know that's really tough. So Winnie, please share your experience with us and the impact.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Winnie. So I have had like a 20-year corporate career. So I started off as a lawyer, and then I went into kind of corporate leadership. And so I was working in a Fortune 500 company in various roles as a corporate leader. And now I've actually in the last few years started my own business. So that's just a little background about who I am. Um, and so, yeah, with positive intelligence, I came across this probably about like 3 years ago. And yeah, this has had a huge impact in the way that I understand how I operate and how my brain is sabotaging me sometimes with the best of intentions, I think.
Yeah.
But I think the major impacts for me, like one of the ones that I think Haifan was talking about, the saboteurs. And for me, the controller saboteur was one of my top, is actually still is one of my top saboteurs. But it's a lifelong work in progress. But that really, I think when I went through the program and this controller saboteur came up, I realized that what I thought was helping me, which is like the frequent thoughts in my head were like, especially when I was a leader leading my team, was this feeling of I have to do everything myself. If I don't step in, nothing gets done. Yeah, like I need to take control. Otherwise, everything will just, and I actually felt at the time that is what's needed, and that was helping us as a team move forward and get the kind of results, right, and get things done, frankly. And but I was stressed out over all of that, and so for me the biggest impact of that was my own well-being. That it without like I felt like, oh, we're pushing, we're getting things done, and when we get things done, I feel like, well, see, mission accomplished, that's what you need, right? But yeah, without realizing the cost of that to my own well-being. I think as a leader, I had other ways of kind of compensating that with a team, in the sense that I wasn't necessarily ordering them to do things, because I think that was also something a controller very often has. But for myself, I was just stressed beyond belief. And so when I saw that through positive intelligence, what that was doing to me, and how that actually in the end affects my performance, right? As well as my own well-being. and probably in some moments also affects relationship with other people. Yeah, like it was like a hammer on the head, like, whoa. And so then I realized, like, wow, okay, but what am I supposed to do about it? And this is basically also where then positive intelligence gave me like these very simple tools and ways to slowly do like tackle it, right?
Mhm.
So it's not this like magic pill that, you know, oh, now I realize and now I'm healed or like now I'm done. But it gave me these very simple practical things that I felt were doable, that allowed me to step by step and day by day, and I continue to do it now, to yeah, help me get that under control and allow the strengths of what the controller actually exhibits, right? And sort of being kind of, you know, decisive and being able to kind of lead people and all of that, for all of that to shine through without those damaging effects of the negative saboteurs. So for me, like, and the list goes on, right? So, but we have three
Right.
minutes, so I'll just share that quick one. But yeah, like that's actually really the impact, because you get to see it clearly and then it gives you very simple, practical ways of dealing with it. And yeah, I continue to use it every day in all different kinds of scenarios. And the Sage tools are also like yeah, super helpful. So the more you
Yeah.
practice it, actually, the better you get at it. And yeah, it's really a lifelong practice and a very useful tool.
Oh, Winnie, thank you so very much for that beautiful quote testimonial. And I'm delighted that you are on, continue to be on the journey, and that your well-being is absolutely, being taken care of. And all of those relationships are, becoming incredibly trusting and so positive. So thank you so much for joining us, which is a perfect segue into Ellie Cotting. And Ellie, I can't thank you enough for trusting me to be in the pilot program in November 2020. And so, as Winnie says, this is a journey. It continues on. And Ellie, if you would share your story.
Honored that I was in the pilot pod that Ellen introduced me to PQ back then, right as the pandemic was in full bloom. At first, I was focusing on myself as an individual. I was really helping the simple PQ reps that Haifeng took us through an example of them. I was noticing just it was helping me even in how I communicated, how I was reacting to all the crazy changes that were happening at work and at home. But then over time, I started noticing that, and I call it meditation for dummies because these PQ reps are like mini meditation sessions, but it simplifies it in a way that um, I was never very good at meditating or never able to accomplish that. And this gave me almost like a curriculum to follow. I'm a civil engineer. And so, engineers by training, we want a procedure. And this gave me a procedure I could follow. And then I found that these exercises and techniques were making it easier for me both at work and at home. I was able to recover faster when things went wrong. I was a better listener. I was a better partner and team member. One of the other lessons, I could tell Winnie wanted to go into the many, many lessons that we all apply, but one of them I call it the 90-10 approach. So very often in a team, and especially from an engineering perspective, there is a right answer and a wrong answer. And one of the concepts that PQ introduced to me was the 90-10 approach. The other party is typically at least 10% right. So the question you ask yourself is how can you respond with yes and instead of yes but? So I've worked with Kim in the past. If Kim were to come to me and say, hey, we need to change this procedure to do this, and I thought that is very wrong, I understood that I could start that, yeah, that's my judge, my hyper rational saboteur saying Kim is wrong. And instead I could step back and say, you know, what I like about that, Kim, is we really do want to work on this procedure. And that was a yes and we could move forward in a positive direction together. And so I've been honored over these past 5 years to move into a role where I'm actually leading 600 public works employees in stormwater and wastewater management. And so when you're in an org that is that large, you really have to stay positive and look for opportunities to keep positive momentum no matter what the challenge is. And imagine for you as you've moved through life, what has motivated you? Is it when you have a leader who is like as Winnie alluded to, who always has the right answer, or is it when you have a leader who stays positive and believes in you and finds a way to empower you? And PQ is such a powerful tool for that management and leadership. And even in a human resources aspect, because in every organization we have conflict. Some people have difficulty resolving the conflicts and we'll assign it to them. I can say this as a leader. We will assign it to you. You got to fix this conflict, but we don't always tell you how to do this. So over these 5 years, Ellen could tell you how many, but I think I've referred about 50 people, just mentioned PQ, talked about how important it's been to me. And in cases of people who are experiencing that conflict and can't find their way out, PQ is a user manual. It is an SOP for, standard operating procedure for how to find your way out of conflict and move forward in a positive direction. It gives you that ability to have emotional intelligence and to recover faster. That's the mental resilience piece of it. So I can't thank Ellen enough for introducing me to PQ. I do practice it every day. I stay in touch with some of the original people who learned PQ with me, and I think it's made me not just a better individual, but also a better leader.
Absolutely. Kelly, thank you. You honor me by still staying on my journey, and I am on your journey. And so beautifully said. And so for Tina, who had asked the question about group productivity, I think Ellie gave a great deal of insight into how it can positively affect the group, the team, the dynamics, and the productivity with that. So Ellie, thank you very much. I do know you're recovering, so if you need to step out, you go right ahead, take good care of yourself, because I'm going to bring up Michael Peter. Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, thank you, sir. That's right. Michael.
So, thank you very much for this opportunity, Ellen. And I would just also like to tell this international group just how much Ellen and so many people on this call mean to me. I have been on a journey that I was not expecting to take. And that journey, for me professionally, I've been in the workforce for 30 years. And I've been a high performer, a high controller, but also I've very much looked at myself as a servant leader. And I thought that that's what was really going to keep putting me over the top. And I was successful. I was successful in motivating people. I was successful in my relationships. And I got to a point where I really got what I thought was my dream job with one of the departments in our local government, where I was able to really work through all of the administration. Everything I had been focused on for my entire career was in this position. And I thought I was doing a great job. And it all really kind of came crashing down over the last year when I first received a bad performance review and then spent a year of being afraid that I was not serving, I was not bringing value, I was not bringing in that return on investment that I thought that I had to bring. And over that year, I was paralyzed. I was scared. I didn't know which direction I needed to go to be able to succeed any longer. And I had lost the faith, I thought, of my leadership. And unfortunately, I think that there are individuals who were able to take advantage of that and really put me in a place where I didn't think I was worthy, put me in a place where I did not think that I could succeed any longer, and put me in a place where I was unsure of myself, a place I had never been. And this really drew itself over my entire work relationships, my personal relationships. And as a result of that, um, I really kind of hit almost rock bottom when I was let go from that organization. But there were hands that reached out for me, and hands that specifically, we just heard from Ellie Cotting, who reached out and with absolutely no doubt whatsoever said, Mike, I believe in you and I want you to be part of my team. And that had me questioning, am I worthy of this? Am I worthy to be able to make it to this next level and rebuild who I am? And lo and behold, I'm now in this program. I've been working with Ellie for several months. I've known Ellen for a very long time. And being introduced, I'm in the middle of this program right now, and I'm learning about these things that were holding me back. I'm learning about these things that it's okay to have these feelings, but they don't need to define me. And as a result of that, I'm able to be more present. I'm learning how to be more focused and reflect this back on others in my daily interactions. And darn it, I'm seeing that I am worthy. And I am rebuilding that sense of worth. And it's where I am in this program. And I just want to thank everyone for that. So thank
Michael,
you, Ellen.
oh, you are quite welcome, and I am so delighted you could join us on the baseball field.
Yes.
To his sons, he's coaching, which he's actually using some PQ repping with his boys to
Yeah,
keep them.
absolutely.
And
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
he's spreading the love in and off the field. So
And
Michael,
these amazing boys just won 13-11. So it's been a great night.
oh, congratulations to you and
Thank
to
you.
the boys. So with
Thank you.
that, Michael, if you need to leave and go with your boys, please do. Thank you so
Thank you.
very much. So now I'm bringing up Kim. Kim, we are coming up to the top of hour. I do have Robin Fenner. So Kim, if you could share your experience along Tyler, you've been through the program twice. Yeah.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Kim Maleko, and I don't know how to follow Mike. I'm on the edge of tears, but just real briefly, I have been on the program twice. I was in one of Ellen's very early cohorts. I think I was right after Ellie's group during COVID, and I had a very similar experience that Mike had. And at that moment, PQ was what I needed because it helped me to be able to focus and really innovate and think creatively, build my value back up. But I don't want to talk about that because Mike's talked about that. The second time I went through the program, I went through it with my husband. And the reason we did that together with Ellen's amazing leadership coaching was because my husband had a business. He had a falling out with his business partner. It was very ugly. It became a horrible legal battle we were involved in for 4 years, and it really began to degrade his confidence in his ability to perform. It was affecting our personal relationships, and he really was on the verge of giving up, and which was completely tragic because this business had to do with something that was just extremely passionate to him. He created it, and we did not want him to lose that. So we decided we were coming towards the end of this lawsuit. We were having our finally in front of the judge, and we needed to prepare for that. The transformation in my husband, and I wish he was able to be here to share his own story, has just been amazing. I mean, it's been transformative. And he is such a skeptic. He's lifetime military, civil engineer, like Ellie said, very logical, doesn't like fluff. And he took it very seriously. We did our PQ reps together. We learned and walked through the program together. And he has been able to take a very traumatic, difficult situation. He's been able to have a lot of empathy for himself. He's been able to have empathy for other people, which is, hard. He's been able to think really creatively outside of the box. At the same time we were going through this, he lost a federal job, at the beginning of the year. and he was really able to be very innovative and come up with. Ellen laughs about us because we say we have plan A, B, C, D, E, and um, turn and turn everything into a positive, which has just transformed our lives. And I practice my PQ reps every single day. I have a few that I absolutely love, but I think the key for me and the takeaway for this program for me has been positive mindset, understanding my value and my worth, and being able to turn negative into positive. And that's what this program would do for you.
Oh, Kim, thank
Thank
you.
you, Ellen.
I am so happy for you and Tyler. Just so happy. And thank you so much for sharing that very personal journey with that. So with that, we're at the top of the hour, but I do have Robin Fenner. And Robin, I don't know if you are on camera or on the phone. If you could just give us a couple of minutes. Robin recently completed PQ, and she and her husband they're starting another business. So Robin.
Yes, I'm sorry if I'm not on camera. I had something that came up right before this call, so I wasn't able to switch over as quickly as I wanted to earlier. So I apologize for that. But I will say yes. Ellen and I've trained with Ellen in different capacities over the years. And when she told me about PQ, I knew that it was something that I wanted to learn more about. My husband and I have recently launched a business called Agile Always, and it was originally designed to help people who were, I'd say our targeted group was those who were 50 and older, just to always be agile. And it came through health and wellness and community and relationships and all of that. And so I asked Ellen about doing something in the relationship arena, and she told me about PQ. And so I did it with her to understand what it was all about. And it was absolutely transformative in a way that I did not imagine that it would be. It really changed me. It wasn't just my kind of looking at it and thinking, oh yeah, this would be great for my team or my husband or my, the people that we're working with. But it really changed the way that I try to address things, particularly I'll say with my family. And that was something I probably didn't think about as much too, just the personal aspects of it. But my greatest saboteur was a controller. And I did a lot of that in my former life as a manager. I was a vice president of a department, and a lot of what we had to do, as some people said earlier, had to do with managing people, making decisions, and kind of driving that effort. But that doesn't always work so well at home. You have to compromise in a lot of ways, and so had I been in my job, I would have taken on some of the PQ learning that I've since learned. I'm sorry, since I've since learned more about, um, but I know that it does make me think more. I am more empathetic. I am better at relationships with my husband, with my kids, grandkids, and I think that the reps they really stick with you. I have actually been showing my grandson some things. He's young, but I've been showing some things to help him manage, frustrations that he might experience just, being a kid. And he knows now. He knows about rubbing his fingers together and feeling the ridges, and he will do it on his own. So it's really just an amazing thing to learn. I hate to call it a thing to learn, but it really was such a great process to know that there was something out there that could do this for me and for other people. And so I congratulate everyone who's been through it. Those who are thinking about doing it, I say go do it. It really has been transformative, and I'm deeply appreciative to
Oh,
Ellen for inviting me to experience this and share it also with you.
well, and I thank you for staying on with us this evening. And I know the busy schedule, and I'm so it's just so nice to hear about your grandson. So that's incredible. So,
But thank
Robin,
you.
again, thank you so very much for your testimonial. I certainly appreciate it. So go enjoy the rest of your evening and say hi to Rudy for me. Okay.
I will do that. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night. All
Okay,
right.
bye.